This is the BBC.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Radio Scotland.
Gillian Clear, final few seconds here. I'm not sure Celtic are going to get the chance to get this up the pitch. They will not, they're out. Celtic are out. Their crisis extends into the new season. From last autumn, they've been on a downward tailspin spiral, and it continues into season 2021-22. Beaten by Midtjylland after extra time, they exit for the second successive season at the second qualifying round, and in the qualifiers for a fourth successive campaign. And you have to say, the chickens have come home to roost here. This won't surprise too many, even though Celtic were in the box seat not once but twice over the two legs. Abada giving them the lead in Glasgow last week. Edouard missed a one-on-one, and before they knew it, Evander made it one apiece, and that's how it stood as 10 played 10 last week, coming to Denmark and that second leg tonight. And again they put themselves in the driving seat. Callum McGregor with an outstanding goal, killing it on the chest and volleying it into the top right corner, away from the grasp of Lossell. That came early in the second half of normal time, but Midtjylland managed to find a way back again, and it came after another one-on-one opportunity. James Forrest, it broke back to him in the area, and he side-footed it agonisingly past the left post. It was so close. It was practically his first touch after coming on as a sub. That goes in, it's probably job done for Celtic. Instead, it's job botched. This club wants to be in the Champions League, but right now, even the most optimistic Celtic supporter must feel that that is a million miles away, and that is a horrendous place to be for the Celtic supporters, who've been used to so many glory European nights down the years. The winner came from Onyedika early in extra time, and Celtic, quite frankly, did not look like coming back from that. And that was where the scoring ended. I think there was just 4 shots on target for Midtjylland over the two legs. They scored from 3 of them. And they will play PSV Eindhoven. And Celtic will have to face the Czechs Jablonec in the third qualifying round for a place in the Europa League. It might even be that it's the Europa Conference League for Celtic, because they are not now, having lost this one tonight, guaranteed group stage football. They are not guaranteed European football till Christmas. And Ange Postecoglou, if he didn't know before, he knows he has got a monumental task on his hand. He hasn't even barely begun to scratch the surface of it. There's some real shades of when Ronny Deila took over back in 2014, when you consider as Sviatchenko celebrates wildly with the supporters, the former Celtic defender. You think back to that 4-1 capitulation in Warsaw. Ronny Deila looked like he'd seen a ghost when he came out to address the media after that one. They then got the chance to play in the next round anyway, after the ineligible Legia Warsaw player scandal that knocked them out took Celtic through, but then they lost to Maribor as well. All the good work under Brendan Rodgers and initially under Neil Lennon has unravelled spectacularly, and Celtic will now have to try and fight for a place in the Europa League, because they've proved again tonight, right now, at this point in time, they are not a Champions League team. It finished in central Denmark. Midtjylland 2, Celtic 1 after extra time, and 3-2 on aggregate.
Following Scotland's teams in Europe.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland. There's no substitute.
Shambles for Celtic once again in Europe. A tie that they should have had all wrapped up. They're ahead in the first leg, they're ahead in the second leg. They were the better side for 3 of those halves in the initial 180 minutes, but they simply couldn't put it away. And they've allowed the Danes, they've given them encouragement, allowed them back in. And you've got to say, from the point that James Forrest, and he should have scored to put Celtic 2-0 up on the night, from the point he missed that, almost immediately Michelin equalised, and Celtic really barely created anything at all in the closing stages. And it tells you everything about where Celtic are right now and what's been happening at that club for the past 9, 10, 11 months, that they finished a Champions League tie with a back four of Ralston, Welsh, Murray and Montgomery. It's staggering, Tom English.
Yeah, but it's been staggering for season after season now. 4 Champions League exits: AEK Athens, Cluj, Ferencváros and Midtjylland. Avoidable, all of them, if Celtic had done their stuff in the transfer market in time. Avoidable if they'd learned the lessons of before. Avoidable if this club acted like a European club instead of just talked about it. Now, as you say, Ralston, Welsh, Murray and Montgomery is their back four finishing a massive Champions League game. I mean, if Bomber Brown was running Celtic as an undercover agent, he couldn't inflict the damage on Celtic that Celtic have inflicted on themselves. Their signing policy is a joke. It's a joke. They were not ready for this tie. Midtjylland are an ordinary team. And Celtic had them on the ropes. They had them on the ropes in Glasgow. They had them on the ropes here. And they let him come off the ropes and knock him out. And it's incredible. But they refuse to learn the lessons. It's dopey football administration from Celtic. They keep going into these big Champions League ties underprepared in personnel terms. And actually, they keep signing players, but they don't get him in time.
Yeah, more underprepared this time than ever before.
Ever before.
So you see, not learning lessons, actually almost ignoring any lessons.
I'm telling you, Bomber Brown would not make a bigger hash of that club in the Champions League, these Champions League games, than Celtic have done themselves. They are a club in transition, but my goodness, this is an utter shambles. It's to lose to this team the way they've lost, and also, you look at. I have sympathy for the young boys coming in. They're starting off their careers and they're saddled with having to do a job in a team where clearly a number of players, and I would put Edouard at the top of the list, does not want to be at this club anymore. Yeah. He lolled about there all night.
That was a shocking performance.
And it's a shame because I think he's a terrific footballer. Yeah. A terrific footballer. But clearly Ange Postecoglou felt that he did not have another option. He had to play. And he sees Edouard in training, and he probably suspects that Edouard has got one leg out the door at Celtic Park. But he feels, I've got to play him because if he can produce something close to his best stuff, he's better than the other guys we've got. And the other guys he's got ain't up to much. We've seen it time and time again. They're not up to much. Ayeti is not up to much. Lee Griffiths, he has an injury. He's not available again. So Celtic knew all this a long time ago. Months ago. They knew they needed to recruit, and they needed to recruit heavily. They knew all the problem positions, and they haven't filled any of them for this tie. The reinforcements are coming in. It's too late now. They're out of the Champions League. And I'll tell you, next week will be a tough tie as well for them. So this is another opportunity lost, and it's lost through maladministration at the top of this club. I feel for Ange Postecoglou. He must be thinking, what have I got myself into here?
Well, it once again goes back to the incredible delay Celtic allowed to happen before eventually appointing Postecoglou. He's had no chance
absolutely.
to assemble a squad.
This is it. And, Celtic, they behind the scenes, you talk to them and they say, our European story, our 1967 and all the rest of it, Barcelona, etc. Long time ago, lads. And this is the reality of it tonight, with that back four. The chairman of the club, what's he doing? The majority shareholder, Dermot Desmond, what is he doing? Like, he's a very successful businessman, Dermot Desmond, yet he's allowed this club to degenerate into this situation tonight. Definitely there are players coming in, we know that, and they will sign more. And in maybe a month or 2 or 3 months, Celtic team will look a whole lot better than they do tonight. But the point is, they've got to be ready for the Champions League. It's not a surprise that these ties took place when they took place. But Celtic, for the 4th season in a row, they weren't ready. And I find that just incredible.
No Champions League for Celtic, so they now drop into the Europa League. Next week, they'll have a first leg against the team that finished 3rd in the Czech First Division, Jablonec. Play them over 2 legs. If they lose to them, there's another chance for Europe. They would drop then into the playoff round for the Conference League.
They might be ready for that. They might have a few players in the door.
Well, basically, you have 3 opportunities, either Celtic or Rangers, because of where they've come in and the competition they've started in. You've got 3 opportunities to win just 1 tie to guarantee some kind of group football until the end of this year. And, well, hopefully beyond, if indeed they get through that. But it's, I mean, the Celtic fans, and you've got to imagine a quick look online there. And I know it's just a little sample, and it tends to be a very angry sample, but you can understand the anger of the fans on a night like this, and the way that the club is being run, or has been run of late. And you compare it to the almost unmovable position Celtic were in not so very long ago. It looked as if no one, and Rangers just were so far in the distance that no one was ever going to catch this Celtic team. All they needed to do was run the club well, add a few names here and there, keep the success going. Your piece in the BBC Sport website saying Rangers got to be looking at getting a treble and making progress in the Champions League. Celtic are so far away from that right now.
They're miles. I mean, Rangers have 2. I said in that piece, Rangers have 2 teams that could win the league. They've 2 teams.
They could put together 2 teams from their squad.
Yeah. They have their first choice team, and their second choice team is really strong. And their second choice team, I think, would take this Celtic team to the cleaners. That's Rangers' second choice side, which has still got some big names in it, by the way. So, all the advantages that Celtic had, extraordinary. All the Champions League money, all of the good business that they used to do in the transfer market, buy low, sell high, buckets of money coming into the club, season after season, and then they start to make some duff decisions, and it became an epidemic of bad decision making, and that manifested itself big time last season when they spent a lot of money in the transfer market and on one poor player after another. Big wages, big transfer fees, no return. So they have wasted colossal amounts of money. Now they're still making lots of money. They sell Frimpong for big money. They sell Ayer for big money. They will sell Edouard, and I think they need to sell Edouard pretty quickly. They will sell him for big money. So there's still a lot of money swishing around Celtic. But who's making the decisions to spend it? Would you have any faith, given what they have done in the recent past, on their decision making get any better? Wow, this is such a missed opportunity for them. All they had to be to get through this tie, in my opinion, was decent. They need to be decent at the back, because offensively they were okay. Midfield they were all right against this team. But they weren't. They didn't have their goalkeeper in place, although Bain made a few saves toward late on. Yeah. The defence was such a rookie defence. And they had a couple of guys in that team, principally Edouard, who didn't look like he wanted to be there. But Postecoglou must have felt he had no option, because he was the only guy who he thought, if he hits his stride, he'd get you a goal out of nothing. But Edouard doesn't want to be at Celtic anymore. That's pretty obvious to anybody. And it's... wow. You
certainly wouldn't be paying 20 million based on what.
Well, if Brighton are serious about Edouard, and that's the money they're thinking of paying, they look at that tonight. They might still pay it. They might say, "Oh, look, the guy is tired. He wants out.
Tired.
Tired of being at Celtic.
All right.
Not physically. Just had enough of being at Celtic and wants out, and going through the motions, and get him down to Brighton, and he'll be reborn." And that's maybe the case. But he's just, I don't think he's much good to Celtic anymore.
We'll try to get reaction. We're hoping that we can get the as has become the case, of course, with these European ties, with still the restrictions on travel and everything else involved, which is why we've ended up doing these European ties largely in the way that we have had to do tonight. So we're kind of at the mercy of what's happening across there. We're hoping that we will get that Zoom set up, that we will get reaction from Ange Postecoglou.
They're like Celtic over the last 3-4 years in Champions League. They're like lemmings. You know, they're walking towards the cliff edge, and you know
they've not got anywhere near it in the last 2 years, though.
Yeah, but they've just hurled themselves over. It's just an inevitability about it. You know, with those four exits, it's the same kind of exit to the similar type of team.
Yeah,
going in not being prepared, not having a settled defence. It was some years it was a goalkeeper, and other years it was a right back, other years it was centre back.
But that's the difference. Normally it was one player here, one player there.
You're right.
It's half a first team.
Absolutely,
that isn't in place this time.
Correct. Yeah, this is much greater. This is much bigger.
But the problem they've had over the years is they haven't gambled to get into the Champions League. They've almost waited to see if they're going to get in before they pull the trigger on the type of player, and then they funnel down the list. But last year, the business they done last year, not one player they brought in strengthened the team, and that's what you have to do. If you look at any team that wins and wants to dominate, they strengthen every year. They don't just pad the squad; they bring in players that are better than the ones they have. They never done that last year, and now, as you say, it's a full team now. I've written down. You've got Turnbull and McGregor, and I think that's it. That's it. That you would say they need to stay in the team, because they need the better players. Starfelt, we don't know what he's going to be like. Furuhashi, we know he's coming in. He's got a good pedigree in Japanese football. We still don't know what he's going to be like. So there has to be. It's a full team they need. It is a full team they need.
It is, yeah. But they've
James Forrest, if he can stay fit, then I'd put James Forrest in there as well, because he looked bright when he came on. He hasn't played a lot of football in the last 6 months or so, maybe longer. So there is a massive rebuild that year on year they've gambled almost every year, and they're now at this stage where instead of adding the right back, the quality right back that they needed, the quality goalkeeper the next year that they needed, you know, the replacement for Kieran Tierney, quality. They've not done that year on year to at this point where it's now they need all of these players, and not just squad fillers. They need first team players that are coming in ready to put a challenge up against a Rangers side that romped it last year, that are getting stronger, and you would never bet against them doing it again based on the evidence of what we're seeing tonight.
They've not replaced Lustig, they've not replaced Tierney, they've not replaced Scott Brown. You know, I mean, these were big characters in very, very successful Celtic teams, and they've thrown money at trying to replace Lustig and Tierney with loan signings and piecemeal operations, loads of wages.
Again, that's short term. That's
exactly,
no risk.
Faddy, exactly.
They're not taking a big enough risk, and it's not a big risk if you've got a team ready to integrate this type of player, a player that's ready to come in and be part of that team. Now they're having to build a full team with a new manager, loads of new players, and they have to be ready. Next week, they're obviously not going to be ready. They should be in a better position next week, but it won't be an easy game. You see with Sparta and Slavia last year, they're good size. Czech Republic in the Euros, they're good players. So it's not going to be easy. Like tonight, Midtjylland, I thought they were poor.
Yeah,
I thought they were poor. I thought Celtic, even with that team, had enough to win the game. They should have done more in front of goal, and could have had the game out of sight, but they didn't. It's the same story from last year. Same against Ferencvaros. They create enough chances, they have enough of the ball, they have enough control in the game. They don't defend properly at the big moments, and it's happened again tonight.
I mean, Celtic fans are entirely, because they're shelling out their money season after season, and this season has started with a complete farcical exit. They're entitled to hear from Dermot Desmond. He's the power. We know he's the power behind the throne at Celtic Park. And yet he never utters a single word to the fans. He never utters a single word to the press. But never mind the press. He needs to talk to the fans. He needs to explain what on earth is the vision here. I don't blame Dominic Mackay because he's only in the door himself.
So Dominic Mackay and Ange Postecoglou are in a similar situation, aren't
I
they?
think their heads are spinning. I think their heads are spinning.
Mop up the mess that's been left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. In COVID times, and I know getting players in is not easy, but as a club, they have known that they needed a new team for months. For months they've known this, and yet they are no nearer it. Really, well, tonight they were no nearer it. When you see that back four they started with, and you see the back four particularly they finished with, honest players doing their level best. But this is a Champions League tie. I mean, they've gone into a gunfight with a pea shooter.
Yeah, I think we talked on the fact that actually Dane Murray, having been brought on last week, did okay. Stephen Welsh, decent run in the team from the tail end of last season. But if you look at the number of competitive starts those three have had for the club, I mean, this level, and it wasn't them. It's not them tonight, because actually, when you beyond that, Celtic didn't create enough chances. It seems, or certainly didn't create the number of chances that the forwards were going to require to add to that opening goal from McGregor. I mean, it was the one standout piece of quality that Celtic produced. They should have made it two. James Forrest, and I suppose it's fine margins, isn't it? He rolls that in. Celtic probably go on to win the game. Yes, there are still concerns over holes in the squad, but they've done enough and they've got through, and it just buys everyone a bit of breathing space. They don't get that now.
They don't. No, they don't. And it'll become a very stressful environment. And, you look at a McGregor, I know he's a club captain, but you look at Christie, you look at Edward, and these guys want to progress their careers. They're ambitious. Why would you be staying at Celtic? Seriously. Why would you be staying at Celtic? If you wanted to progress your career, do something in Europe, kick on. I mean, Celtic they don't look like a club with ambition, proper ambition. Ambition to match their words. And for the longest time now at Celtic, all we've heard is words coming out of that place. About they want to be world class. This is the one that Dominic Mackay comes out with. We're on a journey. We want to be world class in everything we do. It's a long journey, all right.
Well, they're certainly a long way short of being world class in terms of recruitment and timing. I've just seen on the telly there Ange Postecoglou doing an interview. We're getting the feed in, of course, that's sent out all around the Europe, the world, wherever the match is being shown. His answers were fairly brief, and he did not look like
he'll be worth listening to.
Yeah,
he's been excellent in everything he said. He's laid it on the line. He can see the problems, and he deserves better.
He's got a steely-eyed look about him, I've got to say. It will be. As I say, we're hoping to get that all tied up, hoping to get the Zoom news conference certainly before we leave you on the programme this evening. Liam said if he didn't know before tonight, he does now. He knows the scale of the job. And I think he'd have got an inkling fairly quickly as he looked around that squad and looked around what he had. And you hope from his point of view that they've got these players who will, in the next couple of weeks, I guess, get into that first team. You hope for his sake that he is going to get the backing, because if he doesn't get it, if he doesn't get the opportunity to significantly strengthen that squad, they're facing up to another season where Rangers are disappearing in the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, even if
in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, in all sorts of ways, and you'd be putting your last fiver on Rangers disappearing over the horizon this season. And I think he will get the backing. I mean, he's got Starfelt, he's got Furashi. He will get other players in. He'll get a lot of other players in. But they should be in already. That's the point. They're turning up. They turned up at a Champions League match tonight, and they didn't have a team ready to win it. And that's the frustrating part. They take so long. Everything is so slow moving at Celtic. It's not just this season. They can't blame it on COVID. They can't blame it on Brexit. They can't blame it on anything else by themselves, because they were the same last season, same season before. It's been a recurring theme, and it's cost them again. It's that this is Groundhog Day. We've all seen this movie before.
Yes, we have. James McFadden. It will be a shell-shocked squad that head back, presumably, a little bit later this evening once they've filled all their duties there. Europe, well, they're back down into the Europa League next. That'll be next Thursday now. But of course, the league campaign kicks off on Monday, and that's going to be pretty important not to start dropping anything early on.
Absolutely, but you look at the squad that they've got, and they look tired. You know, I know it's early. The season's not even started yet, but the same players have been asked to play all these games, and I know you need to get fitness out of it. But they look leggy as the game went on tonight. They didn't have many options to bring on, going back to the two young centre backs, I thought they done well, but it's difficult when you're a young one beside a young one, because it's the experience that you need when you're at the back, when to drop, when to step up. You know, the communication that might not be there. So it's difficult to blame them, because when they were asked to defend crosses coming into the box or get tight, they done it well. But you need to get that experience in to help them. They don't have a lot of experience throughout the side. Callum McGregor's obviously the captain. You've got Sorrell, who's early 20s, Turnbull early 20s. And then you've got that young backline. I know Greg Taylor's experience in terms of his games, but he's probably got to a point where he's thinking, I need to impress here. I need to show the manager that he doesn't need someone else. They're all kind of trying to concentrate on their own game at the one time instead of maybe helping each other out. You see that with the first goal. Greg Taylor lets his man run in front of him off the back of young Murray. There's no communication to say, you take him. That's what would normally happen. And an experienced defender would maybe open his body and see that that's where the ball is. So they need to find players from somewhere. I don't know if Starfelt and Furuhashi will be ready for the league campaign or even the game next week, but they need a freshness into the squad. They need help, because I feel for the players. They were tiring obviously as the game went on, but this is the league campaign's not even kicked off, and I just keep saying it's a Champions League qualifier, and they're not ready for it. And I really feel for the players that are out on the pitch. They'll just have to. They'll have to just deal with it and look to the league and say, right, Champions League's gone. We have a European game next week, but they have to get off to a good start in the league, because Rangers will be ready. They've had a fantastic pre-season, so they know they'll be ready. They can't be waiting or hoping for a slip up early doors for Rangers. They need to concentrate on what they're going to do and get off to a good start.
Well, I mean, in terms of the league, if Rangers are anything like they were last season, there ain't going to be many slip-ups.
Exactly.
Right, look, we're going to get, I think, reaction now. It's going to be fascinating to hear the tone that he takes and the points he makes. Now, he's re-emphasised this on a couple of occasions, the fact that the squad is light, that they need to get players. And let's see if we can hear from him.
Catastrophic night for Celtic tonight. How big a blow is this for you and the players?
It's pretty strong language, mate. I don't know what your definition of catastrophic is, but it certainly doesn't fit my definition of what happened tonight. So it's obviously a disappointing night, and disappointing we didn't get through. But, I can't fault the effort of the players. They worked their socks off. I thought we controlled the game. We scored, had a good chance to go 2 up, and then sort of straight away they scored and we lost a bit of momentum, and we just looked a bit tired in the end and lacking a little bit of energy to get back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use the word catastrophic lightly, but having seen this situation at not just Celtic, at other clubs in Europe as well, they do, supporters-wise certainly, and I'm sure many within the club, see it as a bit of a catastrophe when you consider the prestige of the competition and the financial reward that is there for the players as well. And I think quite clearly it's quite high up in Celtic's list of priorities when a season starts. Is that not fair?
No, because catastrophic to me means the end. This is far from the end. I mean, you're suggesting that this is a club falling apart and our season's finished, and I don't see it that way. Yeah, it's absolutely disappointing, and Champions League football is a priority. But as I said, I can't ask any more of the players. They gave everything they could, and we've got a league campaign starting Saturday, and focus shifts to that, and hopefully getting off to a good start.
Where do you feel the blame lies with this?
The blame? I don't blame people. I take responsibility. Responsibility is mine. But again, you're using really strong language for something that I don't think merits that sort of view. I can't fault, as I said, the effort of the players. It's not like they gave up or fell apart tonight. They gave everything they could. It was a tight contest, and we didn't get through. So we move on and on to the next game.
For me, the kind of turned in two big moments. Edinburgh last week was a great chance, and tonight it was James Forrest, who was maybe a bit cold coming on. Superb goal from Callum McGregor. There were some positives, but quite clearly those were big moments in this tie, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly right, which suggests to me that it wasn't such a demoralising effort as you described before.
Andrew Smith?
Hi, Ange. I mean, as Liam says, I think the stats show that Midtjylland had 4 shots on target, the 2 legs, and scored goals. That must be an opportunity missed, because you really had the opportunity to win that game.
Yeah, look, as you've said, it was moments that cost us in the end. I think, like I said, tonight, we go 2 up, and I think at that point of the game, we were looking pretty strong to go on with it. But, moments do change games, and we in critical moments, in the first game we conceded a goal we probably shouldn't have, and tonight we missed some good opportunities to sort of seal the tie. So, yeah, that's frustrating and disappointing, but, as you said, I think when you look at the back 4 we put out there tonight, the average age of those boys, I thought it was an enormous effort to keep us in the tie.
But there's obviously a kind of fragility that's stalked this group for the last year, and it's still on show that games that they should be seeing out, they don't necessarily do so.
Again, you're talking about things that before my time. All I can look at is these 2 games, these 2 ties. I thought we were comfortably the better side in the first tie. I thought we held our own and were comfortable for probably 60, 65 minutes today, but it wasn't enough. We just didn't take the moments when they were offered to us, and we've lost 2-1 in extra time. I think considering the challenges we've had through this pre-season, I'll take responsibility for the result, but in terms of the effort of the players, I think they showed a real resilience tonight to try and be successful.
Stephen McGowan?
Ange, you say you take responsibility for the defeat as manager tonight, but there are a number of supporters and people who will feel that the responsibility is higher up the food chain in terms of player recruitment and in terms of the kind of lack of quality numbers in the squad right now. Is that fair? Is that unfair?
I still think it's I still think it's my responsibility. If I'm the person that's been put in charge, and if we haven't got players in, obviously I haven't done a good enough job, convincing people we need to bring people in. So, it's still, I'm not going to shy away from that. I don't say that because I'm some kind of martyr. I just think that's my responsibility. That's why I was brought in. I've been trying to be as forceful as I can about what we need to bring in, and the challenges we've had are well chronicled, but we still need, irrespective of the result tonight, we still need reinforcements. That's evident. I mean, we had a really young squad out there. We had young players on the bench. It's not the situation we need to be.
You have quite a difficult task going to the Czech Republic to try and make it to the Europa League group stages. I mean, how much more prepared do you think you can be for that?
Again, if I felt there was a massive gap with what happened, in these 2 legs, I'd be saying, well, we've still got a lot to do. But we're going to get some reinforcements in. Carl Starfeld's obviously come back in. Nero Bitton will be available. Hyogo Furuhashi will come back in. So, already we'll be stronger in terms of depth and quality, which we need. Guys like James Forrest, who that was his first real run tonight, will be better for it. So, I do believe we'll get stronger, and I do believe we'll be in much better shape come the next European tie. But more importantly, I want to make sure we start the league well on Saturday, and that's our focus right now.
And there's always an inquest after results like this for Celtic and other teams in Scottish football. How do you cope with that in the short term? You're obviously the league starts at the weekend, and you've got another European game in a week's time. How do you deal with it in the short term?
Just by focusing on Saturday. I mean, as you said, inquests are inquests. I don't get to present at inquests. So I just got to get on with the job. So there's a game in 3 days' time that is a very important game for us. We want to start our league campaign in a strong manner. As I said, we get some reinforcements between now and then, which I think will help because the players worked awfully hard tonight. So we'll need to get a couple of fresh legs in. So that's all we can do, focus on what the next challenge is. The next challenge is Saturday at Hearts.
And are you suggesting that maybe some people didn't understand the urgency of the situation and didn't understand how short you were going into these games? Because in retrospect now, that looks like a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, maybe I wasn't clear enough. I don't know. But it's. I think I've been pretty consistent in saying that, we need more players here. And, the club's working hard to get those players in. I've talked endlessly about the challenges we face, but again, I think for our supporters, they just want to see us bring the reinforcements in that we need, and I've just got to keep reinforcing my views on it as strongly as I possibly can.
Do you think that being knocked out of the Champions League down into the Europa League, it might affect your chances of bringing the quality, the calibre of player you want in it, and perhaps could it mean that some players might leave sooner than expected as well?
I don't think so. I mean, that hasn't been sort of outlined to me that that's the case. The targets we had yesterday will still be the targets we have tomorrow. We'll still be working on trying to bring in the same players. Made my position clear on exits. Anyone who doesn't want to be here is welcome to go. I'm not going to waste too much time.
And you decided to go with Scott Bain tonight. What was it thinking with that?
Oh, Scott's been, he's been training well, and I just felt, looking at particularly after the weekend game, that with such a young sort of back four, particularly the young central defenders, I think they needed a strong voice behind them, and Scotty provides that. He's very vocal. He's, he doesn't mind sort of leading from back there, and Barkey's a different kind of personality. He's a bit more quiet and reserved. I just felt we needed that tonight, knowing that, playing away from home, there's going to be times when you're going to be a little bit under pressure, and they need that encouragement. To be fair, I thought they handled it well. We weren't under pressure for that much, particularly during the 90 minutes. So that was the reason for that.
But there are reports that they're linking you with Joe Hart. I mean, can you shed any light on that?
Again, that's probably we've been linked endlessly with people, and that's the frustrating bit with me. I'd rather be talking about people we've brought in than people we've been linked with.
Ange, did you feel you were happy with Odson's contribution tonight? Because there's been a question mark about his commitment over the last while, about for a year now. Did you feel you got enough out of him tonight? He worked awfully hard and gave everything he could. It wasn't an easy night for him. We knew that he'd have to sort of lead the line for us a little bit. It's one of those where you kind of go, if we get that second goal and we win the game, I think everyone looks at the performance in a different light. Unfortunately, that's the nature of football. You lose a game and people will sort of highlight potential reasons why we did that. So I'm really disappointed at the moment. I'd rather analyse the game and sort of look at each player's individual performance. What I do know is, as I said, I can't ask for them to give any more than they did tonight in terms of effort. A few of them were running on empty in the end, but they kept going once again.
And in terms of a number of recruits, in terms of the weekend, ideally, how many would you like in before Saturday?
I couldn't articulate a number for you because, to me, even getting one in at the moment was going to be enormous help for us because, as I said, we've had a really challenging pre-season in the fact that, we haven't had a core group of players together for various reasons, whether that was internationals coming back late and as I said, people have left the club and the ones we have signed haven't been able to be part of the group yet. So for me, it's got to chip away to get one in, get two in, and then just keep going until we've got the squad that I think we need.
Can I ask as well, Ange, in terms of when you took the job to where you are now, personally, do you feel the rebuild job is bigger than you initially thought it would be?
No, not really. I mean, I knew it was a challenge. I mean, I just had to look at, the difference in the playing list from last year, this year, even before I came. There was quite a few that had already left. And it was quite obvious, which I thought was an opportunity for me because at least I can bring in the players I want. So I wasn't thinking that this was going to be a position where I'd come in and sort of just had to tinker with things. I knew that we needed to rebuild things, but that's where I saw the opportunity. Now it's one of those where I've just got to shoulder into the wheel a bit firmer and make sure things get done, so that we can get in this club back to where it should be.
There was a clear theme. Look, we've got a couple of minutes left, but there was a clear theme there to the questioning and to his answering. And you've got to say, fair play to Ange Postecoglou, who said on a number of occasions, I take the responsibility, no blame. Obviously, I've not done a good enough job of convincing people to bring players in. I've been trying to be forceful. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. I mean, you can draw from all that some of the conversations that might have been going on.
Well, I mean, he said that he's got returned to that theme a number of times. Shoulder to the wheel, a bit firmer to get things done. That is a serious message to the people above him and the board. That is a manager calling out his board, who sounds fed up, angry. It's not the first time he's done it, not the second time, it's not even the third time he's done it. He's had to repeatedly come out with this kind of language, although tonight's is even stronger than before, to say, I need players. And I know Brendan Rodgers went down this road before, and Neil Lennon before him. But this is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting dynamic between Ange Postecoglou and the Celtic board and him calling them out in public. That's wow.
James, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I think that he continued what we knew. He'll face the questions, and he took the responsibility. But I think that maybe the honesty in terms of it is a bigger job than he thought, without doubt. And that's not just on the playing side; it's to get the players in that he wants and that he needs. He made it clear there. He's been asking for players. He's been asking for reinforcements. He's not getting them quick enough, and they've suffered for that tonight. And he's found out as well how ferocious the Scottish media can be as well.
Yeah, that was the first time he's faced that.
I mean, he's been a manager in Australia for
here.
Yeah, but I cannot
Scottish
imagine.
media.
I know, but come on. The Aussies don't exactly hold back. Let's be honest.
No, they don't. But I think you'll find he will find that this is far more intense than anything he would have faced.
Because you're talking about one of the two biggest clubs in the country, and because it's all about if one's doing well, then the other suffers, doesn't it? It's something that he is going to have to contend with. But the biggest thing for him is that he's going to have to get that board. He's going to have to get those people, the power brokers. He's going to have to convince them. He is going to have to convince them now. Surely they will see. And he is going to need an awful lot in terms of support. And he's going to have to significantly strengthen that squad if they are indeed to offer any kind of challenge domestically to Rangers this season. They've already had one failure in Europe. They get another chance now in the Europa League. Beyond that, there's a conference. Wow. Celtic's Champions League dream is over for another season.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Radio Scotland.